What's up, family? Man, it's 3 o'clock Tuesday morning. I'm going into work in a little while, but I want to jump on in and make this video for you guys. It's going to be an interesting video. For some of you, it's probably going to piss you off. For some of you, it's probably going to upset you. It's probably going to trigger you. That's not my intention. You know that. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I get asked so much, man, how is it that you can have gone through all the hell that you've gone through? How is it that you could have as a little tiny kid, seen your father murder your mom, been molested, all this stuff that you've gone through with that, several times or 2 different times as a kid? How could you go through all the heartbreaks and the failed relationships and just the losing of your brother, to cancer, and then a year later your wife dying from cancer? How could you go through all the hell that you went through and still be so positive, still be so loving, still be so, just carefree and just have such peace of mind and joy? How could you be this beacon of hope? How could you be this beacon of love and this beacon of light, having dealt with all the stuff that you've dealt with, having gone through all the hell that you've gone through? How can you do that? How do you look the way you do? There's no way you're 51 years old, getting ready to be 52 next month. You know what I mean? What has preserved you? What has kept you? Not just what has kept you, but Elijah, you found the fountain of youth. What is it? What the heck is going on? You know what I mean? What is your secret? What is your secret? You gotta have a secret. Family, I've thought about that for so long, because I've been asked that for so long. You know what I mean? And at first it was like, man, God's the answer. You know what I mean? God is the answer. And I thought about it, and it's like, hold on, time out. No, I can't just say that God is the answer. Stay with me. Because there's a lot of people that say that they have God. There's a lot of people that say they walk and talk with God. There's a lot of people that God is using. And yet they're still suicidal. And yet they don't have peace of mind. And yet they don't have joy. Yet they're still full of depression. So if that's the answer, not the answer, but if that's the case, if there's so many people that say that they walk and talk with God and they have a great relationship with God, and they're toxic drunks, you know what I mean? And just liars and just all kinds of different things, you know what I mean? It is what it is. I'm not putting anyone down. I'm not judging anyone or anything of that nature. Just stay with me. If all of these people, and not everyone, but if so many people have God in their life and they're still so negative, so hateful, so judgmental, so self-righteous, so arrogant and narcissistic, they still can't stand themselves, still don't like themselves, and then there's something else. It has to be something different other than just quote unquote having God in your life. There has to be something different. I've sat in church with people that didn't think that I was quote unquote godly. And they were depressed, suicidal. They had all these things going through their head, and they didn't understand what was it about me to where I could sit there and have so much peace, so much joy. What was it about me to where I had been preserved? And I'm not going to say that it wasn't God. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that. But it's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. Because you got all these other people that got God. And man, they look like they've gone through the ringer. You have all these other people that talk about God, preach about God, sing about God, speak in tongues, all these other things, right? Man, and they look like life has just beat the snot out of them. They act as though life has literally beaten the crap out of them. They're talking about God, but they're extremely negative. They talk about God, but they're so judgmental. They talk about God, but they're so self-righteous. And they talk about God, and they're drunk every night. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It's deeper than that. It's more than that. It's more than that. And I had to understand. And it's like, I was talking to God about that. And it's like, man, what is it? What is it? And I saw this show, this documentary, the video years ago. And man, it's like, boom, there it is. You know what I mean? There's a song that came out when I was a lot younger. Whoop, there it is. You know what I mean? And man, I don't know why I just thought about that, but I'm an old head. But when I saw that video, it's like, wow, that's the answer. That's the answer. And this is called The Secret. The Secret. And when they talked about, they had all these different bigwigs on, talking about, man, the law of attraction, talking about the importance of gratitude, the importance of how we think, of choosing to be positive, of choosing our choice to think the way that we think. But so many of us in this trip, because everybody I come in contact with, I talk to them about this video. And it blows me away, because you know what? I kid you not, the great majority of the adults, you know, when the young kids or the young teenagers or the young adults in the early 20s just getting started in life, when I recommend them to watch this, man, some of them have seen it, and you can tell that, oh man, they're in that adult frame already. They're already fucked up. You know what I mean? Excuse my language, but you know what I mean? They already messed up. They already got that I know it all attitude. You know what I mean? And stay with me, I'm going somewhere. When the young kids see it, it's like that light, their eyes just light up. You know, it's like it resonates with them. It's like, aha. You know what I mean? It's like a coming home. But then when you have these adults watch it, it's like some of them get like this little glitter in their eyes. And then the fog of depression, the fog of anxiety, the fog of suicide, the fog of being a reality, of being a realist, of keeping it true. You know what I mean? Keeping it real, you know? All that fog comes right back. And it takes that glitter away, that glimmer of hope. And it's gone. And yet every one of them, oh yeah, I've seen that. Oh yeah, I know that. And we'll do. They start all these, yeah. And I'm sitting there and I'm just blown away. And I'm like, hold up, time out. You're asking me the difference between you and I. You're asking me what makes me so different. I'm showing you what makes me different. I'm showing you in black and white what makes me so different from you. And here it is in a video format. And I'm telling you, this is the difference between you and I. I mean, you're telling me you know all this stuff in this video, and yet you still continue to choose to be depressed, and yet you still continue to walk around with this defeated mentality, and yet you still walk around with anxiety and depression and anger and judgment and self-righteousness. And you choose to walk around with all of this craziness, but yet you're telling me you know the secret? You know the secret to my happiness. You know the secret to my joy. You know the secret to my peace of mind. You know the secret to why I'm always pretty much even keel. You know the secret as to why I'm the way that I am. And yet you choose to wallow around in all of that funk and all of that toxic thinking. And I'm blown away by that. It's like, what the heck is this? You're so dang smart. You're so intelligent. You know it all. I can't tell you anything. So I show you a video and I tell you this is it. Because nothing I've said to you, you won't listen to it. It goes in one ear and right out the other ear because you already know it all. This little bald-headed black kid can't tell you anything that you don't already know. You know everything. And yet you're still living the life that you live. The miserable life that you live. You are so freaking frustrated. You're beyond overwhelmed. Beyond overwhelmed. You're drowning in your sorrow. You're drowning in your despair. You're drowning in your negativity and your toxic way of living. And somebody presents you and tells you that, man, this right here will change your life. And you refuse to accept it, but yet you know everything that they're talking about. It is what it is. It's not my job to save you. It's not my job to rescue you. It's not my job to rescue anyone. It's not my job to save anyone except for myself. I can present you the information. At the end of the day, it's up to you whether or not you're going to accept it or embrace it or reject it. That has nothing to do with me. And for the longest time, I used to personalize it. For the longest time, I used to get so frustrated because it's like, man, how come these people just won't listen? How come these people just don't get it? Why are they rejecting this information? And I took it as them rejecting me. For the longest time, I took it personal. I took it that these people were rejecting all of the stuff that I was trying to give them. They were rejecting the information only because it was coming from me. And because they rejected me, they were rejecting the information. That's how I processed it in the beginning. And then I had to come to the grips. It's like, hold up, time out. God had to show me, like, look, Elijah, it ain't about you. These people are a lot older than you. These people, they've lived their life, and they've lived their life before you came into their life. And they were the same way that they are now. So it ain't about you. It's about them. It's always about them. And I was like, God, I don't get it. How's it? He said, and God had to show me, Elijah, the same way these people talk about me. These people get up and talk about how loving God is, how great God is, how giving God is, and whoop-de-whoop-de. They talk all this stuff, Elijah. But when you get down to the nuts and bolts, when you strip away all the veneer, when you strip away the makeup, when you strip away their big clothes and all their jewelry and their titles and their positions and their cars and their homes, and you strip away all that crap, and it's just them. It's them, and they talk all this God stuff, all this Jesus stuff, all this Allah stuff, all this Buddha stuff, and yet they're still depressed, and they're still bitter, they're still angry, they're still toxic. They're still suicidal. They're still overwhelmed. They're still walking on the edge of giving up. And the great majority of them have already given up. They've already given up. And that's why they won't change. That's why they haven't changed. Because they talk the talk, but they can't walk the walk. They've given up. They're just waiting for the lights to go out. They're just waiting for their turn to die. But they've already given up. And that was a hard thing for me to hear. That was a hard thing for me to embrace. Because I love everybody and I want everybody to have peace of mind. I want everybody to have joy. That joy that passes all understanding. And the truth is, everybody's not going to have it. Everybody's not going to embrace it. Unfortunately, too many of them, so many of them, think they know it all. And they can't be shared anything. They can't be told anything. Because they have life already figured out. And it is what it is. My hope and prayer is that you don't miss out on living a life full of joy. You don't miss out on living a life of purpose, living to your greatest potential, of having that peace that passes all understanding, that joy that can't be explained. It don't matter what your circumstances look like, man, you know it's all good. And you can walk around like $1 billion, whether you got $25 in your pocket or not, because you understand the secret. You understand the secret. Don't give up on life. Don't give up on your dreams. It's going to take a lot of work, hard work, to change the way you see things, to change the way you process things, to change the way you understand things. But I promise you, it's worth it. Because the reality is, you're going to work hard regardless. You're going to work hard regardless. Whether it's staying so toxic, so negative, so depressed, so suicidal, so overwhelmed, full of fear and anxiety and all that other foolishness, you're going to keep that madness, the anger, the resentment, the bitterness, because everybody else seems to be happy. Everybody else has this joy. And you got so much more material crap than they do, and yet they're happier than you are. Yet they're more fulfilled than you are. Yet they have far more joy than you do. It's 2022. It's time to change your thinking. If you're one of those individuals that's been overwhelmed, full of depression, full of fear, anxiety, suicide, whatever the case may be, unforgiveness, bitterness, resentment, animosity, jealousy, self-righteousness, whatever the case may be, if you're one of those individuals, you can change. You can change. You can have all that you came here to have. You can have all the peace, all the joy, all the love, all the happiness, all the bliss. You can have all of that. Don't allow people to continue to lie to you or to deceive you into thinking that life isn't about that. You did not come here just to live a miserable life and think that, oh, I'm going to heaven because my life has been so miserable. You can think what you want to think. That's foolish. That's childish. That's immature. That's ignorant. That's ignorant. I say this all the time. We have to grow up. We have to grow up. And just because you live in poverty don't mean you're going to heaven. Just because you're going without right now don't mean that, man, God's going to bless you and he's going to give you all this stuff in heaven. Damn all of that. Damn all of that foolishness. You can have all of that now and still go to heaven if that's what you want to do. It's crazy how people sit there and talk about, man, I can't wait to get to heaven and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, all this foolishness, all this crazy stuff, and how your God has all the cattle and 1,000 hills and all this other stuff, and you're living in lack. Your life is not reflective of God in any way, shape, or form. You're broke financially, you're broke spiritually, you're broke mentally, you're broke emotionally, you're broke intellectually. That's not reflective of God in any way, shape, or form. And in the Black community, we have this thing of poverty, thinking that, man, that God's gonna bless our poverty. No, that's ignorant. That poverty breeds poverty thinking, a lack mentality. And you take on that lack mentality in every aspect of your life. Emotionally, spiritually, financially, health-wise, we take on that lack. We have to grow up. I love you guys. Happy healing. Peace.